Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I have an oil painting time lapse for you guys. And this is actually my first ever oil painting. I've never used them before at all. And I briefly mentioned in my last video that I have never tried them because I was intimidated by them. And eventually I decided within the past couple of months that I wanted to take the leap and actually purchase some oil paints, essentially because I was sick of being scared of paint and I thought it was ridiculous, and so here we are. These are water-soluble oil paints, and I mainly chose those because first of all, I work in a very small room with very little ventilation, and also I figured that it would be a good way to transition into oil paints as opposed to leaping right in and working with things that are potentially toxic. So I thoroughly enjoyed the process of using these paints, and as you can probably tell, I'm very inexperienced with them. I don't really know what I'm doing, but that's kind of what I want to talk about in this video a little bit later on. When I purchased my oil paints, I only purchased 4 colors, and I got a red, a blue, a yellow, and a white. And at first I was kind of trying to think, okay, what colors do I need? I was very much overthinking it. But eventually, after putting some thought into it, I realized you can really get any colors that you might want from those 4 colors. But I was overthinking it because it was something I wasn't used to. I mean, I mix my watercolors all the time, but I was freaked out by the idea of oils. And having finished this painting, I have come to realize how kind of ridiculous it was to be as scared as I was, because I really found the process slightly similar to using acrylic. They just don't dry as fast, and I mean, really, that's the biggest difference. And it definitely caused a lot of differences in the way the medium behaved. I don't think they're very similar in any way, but in the idea of how you mix colors and how you layer colors on top of each other, it's more like layering acrylics than it is like layering watercolors, if that makes sense. I found it fairly simple to transition to oils from my past and what I am more experienced in, and that's really what I wanted to talk about in this video, was mainly how to start working with a new medium that you are perhaps uncomfortable with, and how to get the best result out of that. And in the end, I think I ended up with something that I'm really proud of and something that I really like. It's sort of surreal, almost impressionistic, which I'm a big impressionist fan, so I'm beyond okay with that impressionist kind of feeling. That doesn't mean I'll never venture into anything else in the future, but for right now, I am happy with the way that this piece turned out. Sometimes when we're intimidated by things or we're freaked out by something for any reason, sometimes it's as simple as just doing it. And I feel this way with most of my art. For example, sometimes I'll start my day and I will not want to make art. And it happens quite a bit where I just don't want to start, and starting is the hardest part for me. Once I get started, it becomes easier and I start enjoying myself more, and I just want to make more art. But sometimes it's that initial push, and I find that it's similar for when you're starting a new medium. It's just a little bit more intense because you are intimidated by it. Sometimes we just need to do it, and we just need to take a deep breath and drag ourselves to our desks or wherever else we are creating art and just do it. And we don't need to know every little thing there is about this new and exciting, in this case, medium, but sometimes I think we tend to postpone and procrastinate on actually creating artwork by saying, well, I just don't know enough about it yet. I'll do it. I will. I just need to know more about it first. But there will always be more to learn, no matter how much you learn. So making excuses in that way are kind of silly. And I know I did it because I was putting off ever starting with oil paints for years. Literally for years. I've been saying, one day I will do oil painting, but I need to know more about it first. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not good enough for that. And we don't need to know everything. And another thing that made that all the more frustrating and just ridiculous was I was saying, oh, one day when I know more, but I was never actually taking the time to learn more about oil painting. And when I finally did decide, okay, I'm actually going to do this, I looked up a couple of little things. I looked up some safety stuff before I decided to go with the water cleanup kind of oils. And I also learned about the fat over lean method of oil painting, which essentially says that you start with paints that have been thinned down for your first layers, and then you build up to thicker layers as you add more paint and layers to the canvas. And essentially what that does is it just prevents the oils from cracking and coming off of the canvas. So that was a good thing to know before I started oil painting. So sometimes there are things that you need to know, but you don't need to know every little thing about your new medium before you actually jump into it. Because if you're not completely new to art, there are things that translate into every medium that you will ever use. Color applies to many mediums. You could argue that it doesn't apply to something like graphite. But as a rule, color is important to know, and in the case that you're not even using color value, you use the same rules for shading, you use the same kind of rules for composition, and it's very easy to forget how similar all styles of art are. Sometimes we just need to be more confident in ourselves, because I was constantly putting myself down. All these years I've been saying, oh, I'm not good enough for oil painting. One day when I'm good enough, I will do an oil painting. But the day would never come that I am good enough, because I will always say, well, I need to be better at this. I need to be better at that. So if you are putting off something in your art, whether it's a new medium, whether it's a new technique, whatever it is, be confident in yourself. Learn from my mistakes, because sometimes we're more capable than we think we are. So I hope you all enjoyed this video and that it helped you in some way. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.